How's it going, everybody? We are at video 5 of these testing grounds and it's Hitokiri's turn. Initially, when I heard the list of heroes, I didn't think she'd benefit that greatly. Probably some hyper armor changes or whatever. And boy was I wrong. Hitokiri is an absolute monster on the testing grounds. To be more precise, she's a top tier duelist now. Let's go over the changes first and then look at potential problems or shortcomings of her kit. She received some new attack chains. Her sprint attack, forward dodge attack and zone attack now count as chain starters. This means that she can also initiate her charged bash mix-up from these attacks. In general, I think that zone attacks should work like that. It doesn't have to be like Jean-Hus who can throw the zone mid-chain, but zones counting as a chain starter makes a character's flow feel much nicer. Then a dodge attack was added. Like the 3 moves I just mentioned, the dodge attack also functions as a chain starter. It is a 600 millisecond heavy that hits from the opposite side of the dodge direction, like Kensei's for example. The iframes on the move feel pretty decent and it works against multiple mix-ups. I talked about this twice in the other videos already, I'm not going to bore you with it again. One thing about this move though, it seems like you can't properly target swap it. We can have a discussion here whether it is a needed feature for all dodge attacks, or if this should be specific to only a few. This also leads to a discussion about the hero's role. Should a 1v1 specialist have these, I'd say, basic features of a dodge attack, or is it fine to be strictly a tool in 1v1 scenarios? I'll let you guys decide. I personally think that being able to target swap them properly should be a feature of all dodge attacks, including Hitokiri's. Then the changes to the kick and sweep mix-up. A sweep now chains into a heavy. The chain link is really short, but if you try fully charging, that move becomes parryable. Hitokiri's mix-up has always suffered from backstep attacks. I have an old video explaining this and Senka recently retested all these and there were some further changes. But suffice it to say, none of the backstep options worked on the kick. It has enough forward movement to beat any backwards movement that isn't a dodge on the correct timing, obviously. This finally makes this mix-up viable. There is no longer an easy way to beat all options and punish the Hito on top of it. You need to play her game now. Which brings me to a potential problem. Not that the mix-up is working, that's not the problem. It's that all the options in this one end with a heavy. Kick gives 24 damage. So does sweep. A guard break gives a heavy. Parrying a light interrupt gives 1 as well. Usually, you can minimize your risk and make your read accordingly. Against Hito, a wrong read means quite a bit of damage. This allows her to kill someone extremely quickly. That is something she's always been able to, but it now got even easier. This is not really a problem per se, but the question is having such a role in Dominion something desirable? Having a strong 1v1 hero that quickly defends or captures a point? My suggestion would be to lower the damage of the kick and sweep heavies by a little, make those 20 or 22, while leaving her normal heavies at 24. This also ties into the target swappable dodge attack. Do we leave her as this 1v1 specialist or do we give her team fighting capabilities, albeit limited ones? Because if her purpose is to just delete someone really quickly, then lowering her damage might not be needed. This is one of these cases where I think talking character identity is actually really valid. Because Hito's heavies also got changes which might indicate that she is still supposed to be able to teamfight a bit. The chain heavies now got the hyper armor back. When you release the heavy button, you gain hyper armor. Tests seem to somewhat indicate that charged attacks have different stamina drain timings, so it's harder to time them, and measuring hyper armor is always a bit of a pain. But when fighting a Hito, there's no question now that her armor kicks in quite regularly and at convenient times. You're not interrupting her easily. The other change is that the trajectory has been flattened and made bigger, and you have more forward movement. If you want to test for yourself, just go clear some minions with Testing Ground Hito and then load up a custom and do it with the current live version. It might not be like night and day, but you will feel a difference. When looking at her kit now, it is obvious that she's an amazing onesie hero now. But 2 of her moves are still a little bit lacking, at least that's how they can be perceived. The forward dodge heavy sometimes falls short. You'd think it should track, but somehow you just chop the floor. Unlike similar moves from other heroes with charge bashes, hers is probably the quote-unquote worst. It does work, but you need to delay it properly when comparing them to, let's say, Warmongers. Well, there is a clear difference. Now, the discussion is, which one should be the norm? Not tracking at all can be annoying, but tracking someone halfway across the minion lane, that also sometimes feels a little bit weird. And then her zone attack. The hitbox seems fine, but somehow it always felt kinda bad. It is a big animation and a 600 ms attack, which makes it very distinct, so it probably gets parried a lot more than attacks of similar speed with a more subtle animation. I'm not quite sure what to do with it, or if it needs any adjustments at all, but I would like to see some form of undodgeable in her kit. Anyways, I might be overreaching here. Hitokiri is an absolute monster now, and while some extra tools might be nice, if the goal was to give her a specific role where she excels at, then maybe further changes aren't even needed. What will probably hold her back are the feats. She doesn't really have any broken ones, which sadly is almost a requirement to be a top pick nowadays. Still, after having played this version, it's probably really hard to get back to the light version, and I fully agree here with Infinite's tweet. I also don't want to go back to the old version. But yeah, that's it for her. Definitely try her out. She's a joy to play. With that said, I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.